me ask you this. How many of y'all remember your first date? Oh, this is all right. How many of y'all are waiting on your first date? All right, Todd's back there. That's fine. Okay. I'm going to tell you a story about my first date, but before I tell you that story, there's a couple things you need to know. There's a couple rules to what I'm speaking, okay? And these are the rules. They're not hard, but you need to know them or you'll be really confused. One is I am most definitely going to trip and take a dive over here. So as you watch, it's going to happen. Number one, the first rule is I know I'm different. I know I'm, quote, handicapped. And I'm going to make a lot of jokes about it today. And if you're uncomfortable with that, that's really your problem. Because I'm going to do it anyway. So if you want to get up and leave, that's fine. I do know I'm handicapped. I didn't wake up this morning and go, oh my God, what happened? I know it. I'm going to have fun with it. I like being this way. Second rule. Obviously, you can tell there's not two fingers up. This is any number I want it to be. Okay, more than once I've gone into a restaurant and got a table for 3. They put me by myself at the end of the bar. Hey, we'll see you guys later. There's any number I want it to be. Sometimes I've tried to accommodate the world and say, can I have a table for 2? They give me a table for 11. So we're working on it. So this is any number I want to be. And what you'll find out is I'll hold up this hand and I'll say 7, I'll say 12, I'll say 73. I have the advantage of doing 73 fingers. Nobody else can do that because this is any number I want it to be. So the other rule is these are quotes, not apostrophes. I know they're not 2 up there, and I do that a lot. Like, hey, I'll be working from home. You know what I'm saying? So I know these are not 2, but that's what I do with them. So, and the final thing is, these are thumbs. I'm not pointing at myself. Because I do that a lot. I'm like, hey. My ID in seminary, I went to school back in Fort Worth, and my ID in Fort Worth was this. And I was like, wow, that's really funny. So these are thumbs, and I'll do that like, hey, how's it going? And more likely someone goes, what are you pointing at? So, you got to remember those as I'm sitting here talking to you. Now, once again, let me ask you, how many of y'all remember your first date? Is it really that long ago? Some of you don't remember? Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you about my first date. And I guarantee you it's interesting because, well, I'll just tell you. My first date started, it was a junior in high school. Yeah, I was kind of a late bloomer. Wasn't real popular with the ladies. So I was a junior in high school, and my first date was I was going to ask this girl out. And I had been loving this girl for a couple of years now from afar because I don't have the guts to talk to her. So I would see her walking, So I finally worked up the guts to ask this girl out. So I began to call her house and hang up on her mom until finally she would answer the phone. It took about 2 weeks. She finally answered the phone. And so I asked her out. And her parents said yes, but her parents said, if you're going to go out with this guy, here's what you need to do. He needs to come to our house. We want to meet him. Which, let me tell you, if you're a parent, that's a great idea. If you're a high school junior guy, that's a lousy idea. I was petrified. But what do? So I went. She was worth it. I went to the date. So we go to the date. I drive my dad's truck over there because that's what I was driving. I wasn't cool enough to have my own car, but I was the only one driving, so I drove over there. Got to the house and went in and sat down and had dinner with her parents. And we're sitting around this big table, and her mom and dad are sitting there with us, and her brother. They're kind of sitting around the table. And things are going pretty well. For me, to eat more than 10 minutes and not drop something down the front of my shirt is a real bonus. Okay, I'm pretty impressed. So things are going pretty well. We're eating beans and franks. And so we're having these beans and franks, and I get thirsty. I'm pretty excited. I haven't spilled anything. So I get thirsty. Now, if you remember, this is in 1988. Anybody, how many alive were in 1988? Okay, most of this group. Okay. Some of you were 2, but all right. So this is actually in 1986. Now, in 1986, Tupperware had not perfected the stay-on lid. Okay, they just hadn't. But somehow they decided to make the largest tubs in the world, didn't they? So, the lemonade didn't stay on, but we're going to make these big things. So I had to ask them. I said, hey, can I have some more lemonade? So they hand me the biggest Tupperware jug that exists. I mean, and it gets bigger every time I tell the story. By the end of this day, it's like this big. I'm like, so I go to pour the lemonade. Cup's empty. And I'm already dealing with the paranoia of, I have the plastic cup and the water hits it and dumps. That's constant for me because I can't hold and pour unless I'm, which always looks funny. So I'm already paranoid about the lid or the cup. And so I take the lemonade and I go to pour it. And it's like one of those wave machines. Have you ever seen those slow motion lava machines, wave machines? It's like lemonade just goes. It goes everywhere. The lid's like, I ain't even trying. It just jumped off. Lemonade everywhere on everybody's plate. And here's where I get the shock of my life that night. Here's where I get the first kind of phase from our parents, or faces from our parents. in life, there's two faces I get. And the first one was from her dad. Because, I mean, I've just soaked the entire table. Beans and franks in a lake. That's what the new food was. I've soaked the entire table, and the dad looks at me, and it's this look. You are not worthy of my daughter. Which, all right, he's wrong. You know, I'm good with that. I get that from my wife's dad. But the second look I get, this is the one I get because I'm different, because I've got the one finger, because I'm bald and slightly overweight. I get this look, and this is the one that just kills me, and it's the look that says, that is the saddest thing I've ever seen. And that's what it looks. They don't actually say it, but that's what I hear in my head. That is so sad. So I figure this night could not get worse. Well, man, it's just getting started. I've soaked the table, then we move on. Now, our date was to be dinner with her parents, and then we were going to go to the library where her parents went to college. Her parents were both in class. We were going to use the library. Yeah, I was a hot date right there. Expensive, big money spender. Yeah, we'll go to the library with your parents. So we're in the library. Her dad gets out before her mom and says, I think he feels bad for us. He says, you know what? I'm going to take you guys out to Mary Coyle's Ice Cream. Now, this is Phoenix, Arizona. Mary Coyle's Ice Cream is pretty big, hot commodity. It's good ice cream. So we're walking to Mary Coyle's Ice Cream. Now, something you need to know about me is my feet are like my hands. They're just like my hands. I have one toe on each foot, not one finger because that would be freaky. But I have one toe on each foot. And so that's important in the story because what happens is when I run, and for some of you who've played basketball with me, which is no, Jim, you've played with me, when I run, I can't run and stop. I have to run, slow down, and stop. Okay? If I don't, I'm laid face out. I'm going over. So, important to the story. We're walking over to the ice cream. She's got her arm in mine. Now we're first date, and I'm feeling pretty cool. She's got her arm in mine. So we come to the street. It's a major street. We have to cross to the median. Well, there's no cars going this way, but there's a bunch of cars going this way. So we're gonna, ready, run to the median. Okay, her arm's in mine. Yeah, you're starting to put it together. You're right. We're gonna run to the median. Her arm's in mine. We run to the median. Her arm's in mine. I do what I'm not supposed to do. I stop dead. And right here is where I learn about the transfer of energy. And I throw her in front of an oncoming car. And I'm not kidding you. Cars are locking up. She is laid out like this. Her dad's in the background, slow motion. No. And I'm standing there. Look, I'm standing. I'm so proud. So I help her up. And I'm kidding, she's just raspberry all over. I didn't get the ice cream. We about faced, we walked back to the car, Mom met us, we headed home. Now I figured, could the date get any worse? Absolutely, because things come in threes is what I'm finding out. And I'm an idiot also I'm finding out as well. So we come home, and we're riding home, and I'm sitting behind Dad because if you're a little kid, you've ever been wanting to hit by your dad, you sit right behind him because he can't reach you in the car. You know what I'm talking about. She's sitting over there, I'm not kidding, she's sitting over there going, she's just raspberry. Dad's driving. And what does the mom do? She gives me the look. It's the saddest thing I've ever seen. It's the saddest thing. So I'm thinking, okay, it cannot be worse. So, we get back to the house. I get in my dad's truck. Now, let me take a step out here for a minute. My dad, when I was in high school, when I was a sophomore, junior in high school, my dad bought his midlife crisis truck. Okay, it was a Ford F-190 with a 390 in it. It could almost pull the front tires off the ground, and it was Mountain Dew green. But ugly. But it was Mountain Dew green, and it was fast. And that's important to the story. Because I got in this truck, and their whole family is standing outside. I'm thinking pretty much to make sure I'm going to leave. And they're waving. Whole family, mom, dad, brother, sister. It's like the Cleavers, if you ever remember that show. That was the nicest family I've ever seen. So I get in the truck, and she lives on a major street, and I've got to make this turn. She lives on a major street, but she has a little service road, so I've got to make this turn and head back the other way, right? So the cool thing about having one finger driving is it's kind of like having one of those knobs. I just use one hand. It looks cool. Hey, how's it going? Until they think I'm flipping them off. So I do a lot of that, you know. And so I get the wheel turned all the way, and I've actually got it in this hand. I get it turned all the way, and I'm going to start into this turn, and I realize I don't have my lights on. I'm like, idiot. And of course, her dad's looking at me, not good enough. And of course, Mom, as they are. And they're waving, and I'm sitting there. So I decided I need to turn the lights on. On the Ford F-190, the 76 edition, the light switch was over here. You pulled it. So I got my hand like here. I reach through the steering wheel, over the hand, grab the knob, and I get stuck. And in the paranoia, I punch it. And that truck lights up. It goes over the median, over the service median, and through their yard before I got control of it. And they're waving at me. Oh my gosh. And I get control, and I come out, I'm in the middle of the street. And I drove it home, and I told my dad the same story you did. And my dad was a high school teacher at the school that I went to, and knew the girl. And I'm bawling. Guys, I'm bawling my head. This is the worst. I can't believe it. God, kill me now. You know, I mean, I was ready to go because I was so embarrassed. And I get home, and I tell my dad this story, and I'm needing that hug. You know, tell my mom and dad. Well, he's on the ground crying and laughing. He's laughing so hard, he can't even see straight. He's, oh my gosh. It was then and there that I realized I'm challenged, aren't I? I've got things to deal with here. Now, what I want to talk to you about today is based on this. We're all challenged. As I was talking to the sales team, as I was talking to the development team, the things that we deal with, same with y'all, are things at work, things in our personal life. Now, my expertise comes in the things I deal with in my, obviously in personal life, is deal with challenges. And I don't know if it's an expertise, but it's a way I've learned to live. Now, there's 4 things I'm going to tell you about this. The first one is what I just told you. We're all challenged,